What's good, everybody? This is Misunderstood with your host, your favorite blast from the past, the Steering Sale movie, Soko from last night, LSG to some, Soko if you wish, and the LOS if you know me like that. This is Misunderstood, your judgment-free zone, and we'd like to thank you for borrowing us your time. If you happen to be sitting in the audience today and you're not a crew member, hopefully we make you feel at home enough for you to like, follow, subscribe, and join the crew. And to the crew members that took time to listen to the episodes before, thank you so much for coming to join us again, because there's no me without you. You know what I mean? So the show arrangement is going to change a little bit. We are not going to start in the beginning with poetry. I'm going to do the intro and then we're going to do our art in the Hall of Art. So this is just so that if I have a visual piece of art, it can be slotted in, the rationale can be slotted in, or if it is music, that can also be slotted in. So without further ado, let's go to the Hall of Art. Today's poem is called Did You Know? Did you know that poetry is like journaling, just less messy? Poetry gives a sense of control, the wonders of creative license. I don't have to say what I mean. If I can create a picture only clear enough for you to pick up what I put down. Did you know that poetry is well aware of her uses? A drug tossed to the audience to take to places higher than any spliff ever could. She's a well-informed pandemic that allows me, I mean us, to cloak our truths in rose-colored hues. Did you know that poetry is like praying? In each stanza we ask, question, give thanks, appraise. It depends on the muse of the piece. It allows us to channel our hurt, disappointment without having to scream at the top of our lungs for God to hear. Poetry is intimate. A sacred me time, God time, reflection and raw feelings time with blueprints on how to mask them time. Did you know that poetry is like the light at the end of the tunnel? A fast forward button, even if it's merely for a minute or two, she knows we need incentives to make it to the end of the rainbow. Hell, she saved my life. No blue or red pill required to break the matrix. All it takes is remembering that we're human. Or at least I am. Did you know that as intimate as poetry can feel, it's still just a cover of a really complex book? So don't judge. Poetry is sensitive like that. This was written by myself, the LOS, and it is a new piece. I wrote it last week. I promised you guys new pieces, so that's it. I felt like it is a really good way to start today's episode, or it gels very well, is that we're about to dive in face first and balls deep into probably the best kept secret in my life. So, coming back to regular programming, today's topic, as you might have seen in the blurb, depending on where you are streaming from, is my health status. The actual kind of nitty-gritties of my health. And this is a very hard thing for me to talk about. For a very long time, I felt guilty. For a very long time, I hid it because there was nothing that I could do about it. And there was nothing that my friends could do. So nothing that my family could do. So I kind of just let it ride, you know. I would deal with the flare-ups and deal with the imbalances kind of very silently in a corner by myself. And it's not healthy. It has not served me very well, but I think at the time it served what it needed to serve at the time. It is very difficult for me to record this because for the most part I had told myself, you're ready, you've healed, you can talk about this. And for some reason I've been having heart palpitations for the last week while I was doing a lot more thorough and intensive research, because as we know, we are going to talk about the lived experience of anybody that is living with any kind of illness, deficiency, disorder, anything of that sort. The actual meat of what we'll speak about is what they experience. So I have a lot of experience, but not necessarily a lot of dictionary, medical journal works, and that's kind of what I had to research. So please, everybody, take your seats. We're about to dive balls deep and head first into the mess that is my health. Right, so I have physical illnesses and disorders as well as psychological ones, and in this particular episode I'll be dealing with physical, just so that I don't have to ramble and try and get through a whole lot of things in 30 minutes and then no one actually hears or learns anything, because what's the good in that? So I will separate them according to that. And to name my physical illnesses / disorders is I have something called axial spondyloarthritis. I suffer from fibromyalgia. Some people say fibromyalgia. I don't know. There's no master of pronunciation. Pronounce it the way you think. It's a very iffy word to spell. So spondyloaxial arthritis, fibromyalgia, and chronic migraines are the three things that I'm going to be speaking on today. What is spondyloaxial arthritis? Spondyloarthritis, according to definition, belongs to the family of inflammatory diseases or rheumatic diseases. So spondyloarthritis sits under a very big umbrella of rheumatic diseases, and rheumatic diseases are diseases like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and spondylosis, etc. What is it? Quite frankly, it's that your immune system attacks your cartilage and your bones. With lupus, your immune system, can attack your chest or your liver. With the arthritis form of it being spondylo, means it's in the spine, or it originates in the spine. If it was just a normal rheumatoid arthritis, my biggest complaint would be my hands and my feet, my elbows, I think, as well, and my shoulders. For me, the biggest complaint I have is back pain, lower back pain. It is now coming towards the thoracic region, and very severe lower back pain, thoracic back pain, hips hip pain, both sides, both knees. My left knee gave out on me first, actually, and both ankles are affected. And that is what kind of puts it apart from being axial or not axial. It depends on which part is affected the most. So, with that being said, you treated with usually non-steroidal medication, because steroids, you can't be on steroids for a very long time, and if you are chronically on steroids, your dose is very small. I had a bit of an issue in terms of mental health when I was on steroidal medication, taking or a prescription at home, if you will, of steroidal medication. It did not work well with my mental health. They were fighting each other. So now I only use steroids when we have something called a flare-up, and a flare-up is really like a very bad attack. The disease is very active, and your body reacts by inflaming to try and cushion whatever joint it is, cushion the nerves around it, etc., etc. Now, it's very difficult to diagnose because not a lot of people have it, and it is misdiagnosed for a long time. Some misdiagnose it as spondylosis, some misdiagnose it as normal rheumatoid arthritis. But the biggest thing that they use to detect the presence of this disease is a gene called the HLA-B27 positive gene. Now, when it comes to life, I always have to be extreme, you know. Some say I was a teacher's pet. Others say I was an overachiever. Others say I don't do too much for my own damn good. And yep, you guessed it. I don't have the marker. Now, it is possible. At first, I was like, what do you mean I don't have the marker? Then I don't have it, says a person with grade 12 biology. Anyway, so there are a very small percentage of people that have arthritis, any arthritis, but do not have the blood marker, which is the HLA-B27 positive gene. Because I don't have that gene, everybody was taking and running around as to what the hell is wrong with me. Because, as I said, spondyloarthritis is a very rare form of rheumatoid arthritis. It doesn't happen very often, but things to look out for is taking very long to heal from sprains, from muscle pulls, especially around the joints, which made sense to me why sports was never my thing. You know, sports was never my thing because never mind my hand-eye coordination. Every time I got hurt, I was benched for a super long time because the inflammation wouldn't come down, it wouldn't heal. And at the time, I just thought, well, you know, a girl is clumsy, and kept it moving. But once I started to read up on this, once the questionnaires started coming in, I realized that no, that was the first sign that you had very bad back pain for longer than 3 months. The marker, by the way, is that you need to have back pain for longer than 3 months. And, you know, this is what happens. So the person that goes to a diagnose you, it's called a rheumatologist, and they will use scans and blood work. Like I said, once you find that you don't have the marker but you still have an inflammation marker that's really high, which is what caused the red flag for me, was that there was no explanation as to why my inflammation marker was so high. So there starts with the tests, blood tests over and over and over, x-rays, MRIs, bone density, you name it. I even did a gastric scan. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but yeah, had a camera shoved down my throat as well, just so that we can find some kind of answer. And where the story began, was, I was about to say little old me, but realized that I'm actually a bit taller than average. But yeah, little old me was sitting at school. This is what, grade 11, yeah, grade 10, grade 11, sitting at school after assembly. You know how your headmasters, but dramatic, you only go line for line or grade for grade. But yeah, anyhow. So I'm trying to get up. I get up, and for some reason my knee gives out. My left knee gives out from under me, and I fall. At that point, like I said, been getting sprains and stuff for a really long time. So I was like, oh, okay. I fell. It was a bit painful. It was like a numb kind of pain, but nothing really. Nothing hectic. Continued about my day at school. When I got home, guys, when I say Ziyasha, yeah, I got home, and now my knee is twice its size, and I cannot bend it to save my life. Cannot bend it forward. I cannot bend it closed. It burns. I had never seen my knee that big ever. So that stayed like that for a while, about a week and a half. And then, my mom was like, okay, now we do need to get an x-ray. We got an x-ray, and lo and behold, nothing broke. Lo and behold, nothing's broken. It's just that my knee has encapsulated a whole lot of water, and that seems to be the only thing. However, my knee is behaving like I have broken my kneecap, shattered my kneecap or something, which now also sparked the curiosity, because I then went to physio, and my physio was like, this makes no sense. This is my first physio, by the way. This makes no sense. I think I need you to go to hospital and get this going. Went to hospital, and MRI was done on my knee. There's no direct history of arthritis, so that's not even a question. And all they looked at was my knee. The orthopedic surgeon said nothing's broken, nothing's torn, there's no surgery that can be done, and he cannot explain why my leg is this way. This is also my first orthopedic surgeon, by the way. Didn't like him. Was not a vibe, that guy. Wow. My orthopedic surgeon now is pretty great. But anyway, so he was just like, I don't know what to do. There's nothing I can do. And eventually the swelling came down a bit, but my knee has never actually gone back to normal size. But I was able to walk a bit, but I had to go through the whole big leg brace, small leg brace, in between crutches, yada. That was me. I had physio every Thursday. My teachers knew every Thursday I wasn't coming to school, to the point where I think they got irritated. My English teacher basically asked me, like, do you still want to be in school or not? And I'm like, ma'am, do you know how hard it is for me to be at school? Do you know how hard it is? Anyway, yeah, for some time, and then it would already, switch around to my ankle, then my knees, and then my hips. But this now kept going on, and I was seeing a rheumatologist. I ended up seeing a rheumatologist somewhere along the line because the inflammation was high and no one could really tell me why. So the rheumatologist also went off the fact that he couldn't find the marker, and was like, you know what, go to a tertiary institution. There they'll be able to look nicely at your situation. I went to the one private tertiary institution in Gauteng. If you know, you know. If you don't know, Google it. I don't want to be sued. I went there, and lo and behold, no one listened to me because nothing I said made sense, because it didn't make sense to me. How do I go from having left knee, left ankle, hip, blah, 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 right? Doesn't make sense. Like the math doesn't math, So after that, they put me on non-steroidal arthritis medication. So now I'm pushing medication. Schedule 5 doped up all day, every day. I am now in matric and addicted to caffeine because I sleep at 9, but have to wake up and be at school at 7:30. I take medication that are suppressants, and so really my matric marks look the way they did because God is good, because my behind slept. I remember feeling like dozing off while writing a paper. Imagine, I'm writing my physics paper and there I'm dozing off. I think also name bad. I think also, if we're being honest, it might have been because it was papesing me that I was like, might as well sleep. But yes, I went to that institution and did not get very much assistance because my body did not react to the medication that they were giving me. Again, they were looking in the wrong place, but what can I say? I didn't go to school. So then they said, you know what? There's a possibility you have fibromyalgia. When I tell you, I looked at that white guy's face with the biggest question mark, and he still didn't explain what it was. I was like, Ivan, You cannot come and spit these words and then not give us a cooking clue what's going on. And so the descent into fibromyalgia occurred. And fibromyalgia, according to the Mayo Clinic, it's spelled Mayo, according to the Mayo Clinic, is a widespread pain disorder, usually skeletal pain associated or accompanied by fatigue, bad sleep, bad memory, and mood swings. What is fibromyalgia? Fibromyalgia is an illness that creates a process in your brain that makes or highlights painful sensations. So in other words, when you feel pain when someone feels pain times 1, you feel pain times 17, basically. So your nerves are more aware of pain to a very heightened extent, an extent that is not cute, because me bumping my toe against the door, wow, it feels like my whole life is ending, and it doesn't go away after 30 minutes, it stays. So because I was so tired from the back and forth, I said, okay, fine, cool, let's go with this fibromyalgia situation. And fibromyalgia, by the way, did not make sense, because fibromyalgia is what they call a secondary illness. A secondary illness only manifests after an event or a disease of any kind of matter goes unchecked. So basically, Madam President and the chairs of my organs in my body sat down and said, she's suffering from back pain, she's suffering from knee pain, she's suffering from hip pain, she's suffering from ankle pain, but nothing is happening. There's no assistance coming. So you know what? Let's turn up the volume. And that's what fibromyalgia is. You become so highly aware of your pain that you don't have a choice. You can't ignore the pain. And that's the purpose of fibromyalgia, quite frankly. That is why it originates. Unfortunately, once you have it, it's there. So you just have to alleviate your pain. And it is widespread. It is at any point of your body. It's like a dull kind of pain. And sometimes it's not so dull. And in order to be diagnosed again, you need to have pain on both sides of your body, above the waist or below the waist, or on the left or on the right, for longer than 3 months. It cannot be just your arm. It has to be your arm and your right leg, for example, but it has to be the whole leg, can't just be a part of it. So it was very nitty-gritty when it was diagnosed as well. It was kind of a long shot, if you ask me, because the medication did not work, because what was causing the fibromyalgia was not being treated, which was the spondyloarthritis. Fast forward a couple of maybe a year or two. I am maybe or 3. I am height of my depression. I'm in a very bad way regarding my depression, because no one is helping me. The medication is making me sick, but it's not helping. And so comes the idea that perhaps I'm psychosomatizing. Now, psychosomatic disorders, by definition, are a disease in which involves the mind and the body. So a lot of diseases can be characterized as psychosomatic, but what sets psychosomatizing apart is that there is no physiological or anatomical reason for the way that your body is acting. And the most common psychosomatic disorder or explanation is a phantom pregnancy. I think most people have heard of a phantom pregnancy. It's basically when your body mimics the exact same experiences and signs of pregnancy. So you will have morning sickness, you will miss your period, you will start to gain a stomach, but there is no child there. There is no heartbeat, there's no embryo, there is no child. And this could be because the woman has become fixated on having a child, or they just lost a child, so your body is trying to compensate for that. And the physical formation is that this is controlled by your autonomic nervous system. You are not creating this pain. You are not in control of this pain. So please, if ever you have been told that you are psychosomatizing, or that you feel like they are just afraid to tell you that you are psychosomatizing, please, you are in pain. That pain is very real. It's very there. What isn't is the source of the pain. Your mental health state. Are you stressed? Are you happy? Have you lost someone? But the pain that you feel is there. If you've ever experienced a phantom pregnancy, you are not crazy. This is things that your body does in response to your mental state. Okay, cool. Cool. I just wanted to get to that. So, at the time though, when I was told I was psychosomatizing, that was just the icing on the cake, because I was like, oh, now I'm crazy too. So all this money was spent because I'm crazy. Now, for those that might have fibromyalgia or anything like that, ways that it's treated is pain relievers, your Brufen, your aspirin. It reduces inflammation and improves sleep quality. Fibromyalgia and spondyloarthritis produce crap sleep. You can sleep for a very long time, but you don't get a restful sleep. And that has been an ongoing battle for me, is having a good quality of sleep, because I have turned into an insomniac along the way. Anyway, so sometimes antidepressants are used as well. I was on Nialate, or the more concentrated form, Cymbalta, and this is because it affects your nervous system, and fibromyalgia is your nervous system acting out, so to speak. And then anticonvulsions, which obviously mean that they stop fits, epileptic fits or anything like that. Lyrica, I was on Lyrica, and I'm still on Trepoline. And then some yoga, acupuncture, hydrotherapy, and then fatigue. You do get I have gotten chronic fatigue syndrome, which basically just means I'm very, very fatigued, and there's nothing really that I can do. There's not enough coffee in the world to assist. Another thing that is used to treat fibromyalgia is medicines called plasmaquine or chloroquine, and those are usually used to treat malaria, but for some reason they work pretty well for however, side effect is if you use them for a long period of time, your eyes become sensitive, but migraines also increase sensitivity to stimulus. So basically my eyes are having a hard time, and I'm well acquainted with an ophthalmologist. Having to go through all of this in the stages that I went through was pretty it was very rubbish. It was very rubbish. I think the first thing that I had to realize was, I'm not going to run. I haven't ran in about 10 years. I didn't like to run, but now that I can't run, it's like you don't want something when you have it, but when you don't have it, you kind of want it. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, I haven't run in close to 10 years. I can't, because of the pressure that running will put on my ankle, knees, hips, and subsequently my spine, that hitting on the surface is not going to work. Strengthening my muscles is a very important thing, stretching and all of that, but there is a very thin line, because spondyloarthritis does cause pain and fibromyalgia makes you feel pain more intensely. There is a very thin balance of enough pain to know that you're improving versus too much pain that will get you back to your orthopedic surgeon's practice, which has happened quite a few times. I got bursas last year, and in my hips, like we said, hips are actually quite affected in axial spondyloarthritis. So yeah, I got bursas, and bursas are pretty much just sacs of water that collect around your or a said joint, should that joint be experiencing more than usual pains. Yeah, so I saw my orthopedic surgeon quite a few times over the past 2 years, quite a few times, more than usual. And I think the thing that people don't speak about, or things that people don't speak about, is, my spine locks. My periods are hella painful, because what I think is pain and what you think is pain is completely different. I have no control over my weight. I can eat the same thing and lose weight, and eat the same thing and gain like 3 kgs. So a lot of self-love had to go on. A lot of self-love had to be introduced into, it doesn't matter what I look like, as long as I am feeling healthy, I'm feeling better. My legs have not been the same size ever since I fell. They swell, they get smaller, but it is what it is. My migraines have caused a little bit of asymmetry in my face, because they did go unchecked for a while. I was on epileptic medication, and then got off that, and then got on something else and got off that. And now my face is a bit slanted. At this point, it's a little bit slanted, and I just have to be okay with that, because there's nothing I can do. There's really nothing I can do. So in short, if you have ever been told you're psychosomatizing, it is not your fault. You do not control it. It is happening to you. It is not happening from you. 2, spondyloaxial arthritis. Everybody feels different. Everybody moves different. Yes, the spine makes sure that it covers a very much larger area faster than normal, but it does take forever and a day to get it, to diagnose. And unfortunately, sometimes doctors go back on what another doctor diagnosed, and I'm kind of going through that right now, as I feel like I'm at the point where I did move treatment places. I went to the higher tertiary institution hospital in Pretoria. If you know where that is, you know. If you don't know, well, you don't know. But the doctors are kind of doubling back on the diagnosis, and it sucks. It sucks because it took a good 4 years to figure out what the hell are we dealing with, and we figured it out. We were on a good path, and now, because the person that diagnosed me is not there, now re a change magia. So yeah, it's very disheartening. Fibromyalgia is always a secondary illness. You will not get fibromyalgia without getting anything else. And unfortunately, a lot of opioids are used to treat pain. So yeah, it's a very kind of dangerous kind of thing. Females also get fibromyalgia more than men. And fibromyalgia is often accompanied by ding ding ding, anxiety and depression. So those sound very familiar to me. If there's anything really that I have left out, or anything that you guys would like me to come back and address, please do so on YouTube in the comment section, on Spotify or whatever. You can just DM Emerald Revolutions or DM Saw from last night, and I'll make sure to talk about it. Not a lot of people will talk about it because not a lot of people have it, but also some people who have it are not diagnosed at the right time. But be kind. You don't know what someone else is going through. Ask yourself what's good, because it's always good. It's always better to look at the good before you look at the bad. It makes the bad seem so much better. So please do that. And if you guys have any questions, we can have ourselves a little question answer series regarding this, and basically that's the mess of my anatomy. Nothing can be cured. Everything can just be controlled and suppressed. I have a very sensitive chest now since COVID. Thanks COVID. Got COVID twice. And my sister, who's had long-standing lung problems, was okay. And I got bronchitis both times. Irritating, but nevertheless, eyes, like I said, stimulus, and my glasses now are double lensed. I went from one lens to two lenses. I cannot see too close and I cannot see too far. So that is a combination of the pills and the migraines. And inflammation is a real thing. I have 2 pairs of guards for everything. And just be kind, man, guys. Just be kind. I don't lead with my health report just because it is heavy. It is heavy. It's heavy for me. It's heavy for people that are listening. And like I said, nothing can be done. My friends cannot help me unless they're going to pay for my physio, who my mom jokes and says I'm married to. I am married to my physio. Low-key. Low-key. It's really awkward for me. But if you got to this point, thank you so much. It is longer than usual, but I just wanted to make sure that everything is out there. And if you have any questions, or if you want like a really professional perspective, let me know. If you have been trying some treatments and they're working out for you, let me know. If you would like to come talk about this, let me know. Basically, I'm a nosy girl. Okay, I'm a nosy bitch. Let me know. But yeah, that's the end of this episode. That's the end of the physical anatomy for me. And next week, I think we're going to do something different, just to keep it a little bit light, and then we'll come back to the psychological aspect of my health. And I just really don't want to stop story. Don't want to stop story. Ill. But yeah, that's me. It's part of who I am. It's just not who I am. And that took me a long time to get to that. I had to say it's part of me. Yes, it's there, it's part, but it's not who I am. It's not always going to be like this. There will be times where it is bad. There will be times where it is wonderfully and good. And it's not a punishment. It's not a punishment. If not me, then who? Kind of mindset helped me a lot. If not me, then who? Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of today's show. That's the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for sitting and borrowing me your time. Remember, it's your girl, the LOS. And ingome mnandi yapindwa. So see you next time. Same week, same day, same place. Yes, same day, same place. So ingome mnandi yapindwa. Cut.
Batingo memnan yapindwa pindwa Jack Batingo memnan yapindwa pindwa